Another couple of supplements that I'm a big fan of is obviously creatine because the effects that it gives, the research and the evidence that we have that it's probably the most researched and tested sports supplement on the market. Creatine's definitely a go-to for me.
It's super effective, and there's few things that have been shown to be such a good performance enhancing aid except for creatine. Like it's almost in a league of its own, and it's something that you get naturally from meat, but typically most people don't get this kind of level if you are supplementing it.
Yep.
Also, vegetarians, vegans, you may not be getting enough creatine in your diet, just because you're not eating meat. But I guess Sally touched on the energy systems, which maybe...
Oh, it's probably a good time to talk about now that we're talking about creatine. It's definitely...
Yeah, so another one in the family of creatine is beta-alanine, which is another really popular one with athletes, and that kind of acts like a lactic acid buffer, so you can perform a bit better in some of these endurance events.
Beta-alanine is so interesting to me. I love that supplement, and it's a supplement that not a lot of people, they might have heard of it, but it might be third, fourth, fifth on your supplement list, of things that you're going to get. But for me, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And especially for sort of those sports that do go a little bit longer. Talk a little bit about beta-alanine because people don't know a lot about it, and I think it's one of the most underrated supplements out there.
For sure. So beta-alanine is it helps your body increase the level of something called carnosine, which is basically a lactic acid buffer.
Not to be confused with carnitine.
No, carnosine. So when your muscles are contracting, lactic acid is a byproduct of this. It's a byproduct of some of your energy systems. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Lactic acid has very important functions when it comes to muscle function, but this is what causes your muscles to almost feel like they're not contracting enough, and these.
So they're becoming acidic.
So they're becoming acidic. So buffering this with beta-alanine has been shown to have some performance enhancing aid by keeping it in this less acidic environment.
Right. So
so it allows your muscle contractions to continue. So maybe we can expand on energy systems and muscle types, because a lot of people aren't very familiar with these kind of things. So obviously you have two types of muscle: fast twitch and slow twitch. Fast twitch type 2 or slow twitch type 1. It's not really how fast they contract. The speed is actually how fast they fatigue, right? Fast twitch fatigues faster. Slow twitch fatigues slower. So slow twitch is better for endurance training, endurance exercise, I mean. So, running a long distance, things like that. Fast twitch is better for more power and explosive things. So I guess it really depends on your sport. And if you can think of it as almost like the gears of a car, right? So, as you're driving a car, in gear one, your aerobic system, how the energy systems feed into this, aerobic and anaerobic phosphagen system, it depends on the type of muscle you're using, right? So slow twitch fiber, aerobic. So basically, all your ATP demands, your energy demands, can be covered by this muscle. So, imagine somebody going on a marathon race, right?
Do you run like that?
Yeah, this is how the last time I did cardio. This is how I did. No, but all the energy demands can be covered by aerobic system in your type 1 muscle, because it fatigues much slower. As you get into more powerful activities, like Sally talked about the anaerobic system, this is where glycogen and glucose is much more important, because this glycolytic activity, you need to release more ATP, right? More energy. So the energy demands are higher because, type fast twitch muscle produces a lot more force than slow twitch muscle, right? So, if you think about a sprinter, sprinting isn't how fast your legs move. Sprinting is how much force you generate against the ground, moving you forward, right? So, when you go into sprinting and higher intensity exercise, Sally talked about exercise that typically is less than like a minute's burst. That's when your anaerobic and your phosphagen system come into play, and these release a lot more creatine than a lot more ATP than your aerobic system, right?
And creatine helps to produce ATP in the body.
Yep. So creatine is fundamentally important for your phosphagen creatine system, right? This is your absolute most explosive system, right? But it has the lowest capacity, right? It'll only last for 10 seconds, like a 100-meter sprint, right? Going below that, that's when your anaerobic system comes into play. Something for about a minute or so until you're out of your ATP stores. Yeah.
It's good info.
Well, hopefully it didn't bore you.
No, it's exciting for me. It's probably bored everyone listening. No, it's super important. So to summarize, game day nutrition probably is don't change things up too much is one thing we learnt from Sally. Continue with the normal foods that you've been eating.
Don't try new things on game day. So many people just fall into that trap. And like we talked about, it's so easy just to try something, just to take it to the next level. But sometimes the risk might not be worth the reward.
Yep.